It's been pretty quiet all afternoon. The last 2 or 3 days the fish have been turning up at about 5, half past 5 in the evening. This evening it's just not happened. It's been really quiet. The odd sign on the far bank, that's where I've got all my rods at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if the next time you see me I'm down the other end of the lake. Just the lack of activity up this end tells me that that's where the fish are likely to be. The only thing that's held me back from moving so far is quite often that the bulk of the fish should be away, or rather the big one would be away from the bulk of the fish. You know, like the big one could be at one end and all the bulk of them would be at the other end. So I'm still half unsure what to do. I've got 3 rods, so I might well just, that one rod I'm still quite happy with. I have seen a little bit of activity over it, and it's not far from where I've seen Blackeye as well, so that rod I definitely don't want to move. But what I might do is just move the other 2 rods the other side of it. There's a little island and I'll just go the other side of the island with them. So it's early, we've still got about another hour before it gets dark, so I've got plenty of time to move yet. I'll catch up with you later.
As Terry's pursuit for Blackeye gathers pace, like a puzzle comprising 1,000 pieces, each piece slowly starts to slot together. There have been others before that have ventured on the same quest, and as the day breaks, Terry is to receive a visit from Brian Jarrett, a carp angler that has outwitted this wily old carp with the aid of a floating bait.
It's nice. The weather's been real nice since I got here. I think we're due a little bit of rain tomorrow, I'm told, so it might bring it on a little bit more. But they've been feeding lots anyway. Yeah. There's been loads going on.
Has there been, have you had many yet? Or?
One. Yeah. Caught a 27-pound yesterday morning.
Fantastic.
That was across off the far margin there.
Yeah.
Like, you can cast across and drop the rig in with a PVA loop, you know.
Yeah.
But
they do like that far bank. I mean, right the way back down into that bay corner. That corner there, Blackeye tends to spend a fair amount of time tucked right tight in there. It's so tight in there.
There's been scum in there all the time, and it's always been coloured.
Yeah.
It's those little things that, you know, that it helps a lot when you hear little things like that, little haunts of Blackeye. I've heard no captures of it from there, but you know, one little.
I think the trouble is that it's one of those fish that you see it here, you see it there, you see it everywhere, and it does get caught all around the lake.
Yeah, yeah.
But the number of times I've turned up and I've found it right in that, and it's troughing like mad. I mean, it's clouding up all over the place. Right. Yes. And it's such a beast of a fish when you look down on it.
You can't mistake it, can you? I saw it, when was it? My first full morning. I was down a couple of swims further down. You've got the little dot island out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's some weed. It's a little bit dead on that, but there's enough weed there for a bit of cover when it's sunny. You know, they like to sunbathe there. Yeah. And I could see there was, I mean, some of the fish look quite good anyway. It's small lakes, they always look bigger as well. But this one looked particularly wide, a foot wide, you know, and I thought, I've got to have a look, and I reeled in my rods and went right round to have a look at him, and sure enough, it was it, you know, you could tell just by the width across.
It's quite a light, I mean, it looks very light in colour when you see it.
Yeah, especially at the moment with the colour in the water as well, that sort of pales them up a bit, I think, but yeah, he was just sunbathing all day. But you can imagine, from that point on, I concentrated around that area, and although they were there a fair bit, in hindsight, the bulk of the feeding, especially early morning and during the night, was down here, especially across on this farm.
I think they do spend a lot more time here. I think you get an odd chance up there.
Yeah.
But once you've had one, you know, it's like that's it.
Yeah,
they're off, they're down, and either hiding around the back of that island over there, or certainly down here. But the number of times it's come out just short in this corner, just literally just flicked out in front. But the trouble is, there's a lot of tench.
I was about to say, this bank this morning was chocolate. I mean, it's very coloured now, but it was chocolate. You could see it. Yet the only bubbling you could see was real fine print, and I thought it's tench and stuff. I'm sure of it, you know. And sure enough, I've moved round here. The bottom feels so much cleaner as well compared to up there. The presentation's 10 times better. But within an hour, I've caught 2 tench. No, I'm very interested in the corner, that area. Just after what you said, and I've regularly seen bubbling over there early in the mornings. I wouldn't mind betting I've been looking at Blackeye feeding probably, some of the fizzing that's been going on.
Have they taken any floaters at all?
No, and I really did try as well at the start of the trip. It was hot, I could see everything on top, and and they didn't want to know. And I was at it into dark, and then before it got light in the morning I was trying as well. You can imagine,
they are a nightmare on floaters.
Right.
A lot of the time. And you get the most perfect day, and you feed and feed and feed and feed, and they just go past them and ignore them. And then suddenly you get a day where you think, oh, I'll have a go. And you half-heartedly put something, you think, hang on a minute, that's taking floaters.
And you just start having
And it's just...
something clicks,
The only time I really got them taking floaters, it was around about this time of the year. You know, all this willow fluff coming off the lake.
Yeah, yeah.
All the willow fluff, the wind was pulling down into the causeway there, and there was a huge great point of willow fluff. And I've been trickling mixers out, and of course this fluff had built up over the. I started feeding them about 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was sort of overcast, and that I think was the key
just
to it. You know, without the sun there, they seemed quite happy at taking it, and I just kept trickling, and I ended up I had this shoal of fish under the fluff. And there was no way that I could fish for them, because I thought that this is going to be my only chance to catch blackeye on a floater, because the number of people that have been on here and just couldn't get them going, and I thought I'll leave it and leave it and leave it. I kept feeding and feeding and feeding, and I thought, well, it's sometime hopefully something will break up and I'll get a sight of something. And I just happened to look over the far side, and I saw this black shape come out just where that fish rolled, just on that little tiny thing, and it tracked straight across there, and I thought, that's a big fish. And I couldn't really see the cut. I couldn't see it, but I thought it's got to be one of the big ones, you know. And I got a little PVA bag and put a few mixers in there. And just as I saw it came back out again, and I fired the little bag over there, bag hit on the surface, melted, the fish came straight out, went bang, 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 and back down. And I thought, that is unbelievable. It's the only fish that had taken in open water, and it went straight back in under the little bush. And I thought, I don't know. And I've obviously got my floater stuff already set, and I still hadn't cast it at that stage. And I thought, well, I'll dip it in some heavy sweetener. So I dipped the little mixer in some heavy sweetener. Fired another little bag over there and waited. It came back out again, came up, it took one of them, went back into the fluff again. It then turned around, it came back out, it took another one and went back. I thought, I'm going to have a go, because you know what it's like.
Yeah, once they're picking them off,
sometimes you've got one chance on it. And I flicked one over there long, and I just sort of drew it back. And just as I drew it back, it's one of those perfect situations when suddenly the black thing comes out, and suddenly, bang, and it took the float. And then all hell went loose. It went up there, down there, round the corner. And, you know, you sit back and think, why did I put a size 10 hook on?
I was about to say, did you have a 10 on? How about hookling? What was the...
I had a size 10 hook. I had, what was it? It was a 10-pound hook length. Sorry, no, it wasn't. It was an 8-pound hook length. It was a size 10 hook. And I had, I think it was 10-pound big game main line.
Right, yeah.
You know, so I was okay with the main line, but
it's the hook link, the hook tiny hook, yeah.
And it went round, and I still didn't have a clue which fish it was. And it came round here and went up the back and snagged in a bit of weed, and I teased it back out of there. And it suddenly rolled over in front of me, and I thought, that's a good fish. And I still didn't recognise what it was. And it came round again, and I dropped it in the net. And I looked down, and all I could see was this black eye looking up at me. And I thought, I don't believe it. Because I stupidly turned around and said, when I got in the syndicate, I said, I want to catch blackeye on a floater. and I'm going to do it. And I thought, what a stupid, you know what it's like, you just put yourself into a ridiculous position.